My mom never punishes her kids. As a kid, I thought it was great. As an adult, I can see it's a trauma response due to being abused as a child and overly punished for everything, while her golden child sister could get away with murder. It hasn't been too much of an issue, as she's a great mom in every other sense, and none of us were terrible kids. We probably got away with too much at times, but managed to avoid serious trouble. I have two sisters, Molly, who's nearly an adult, and Erica, a teen. My fiancé and I are briefly staying with my mom because we're in between places. She has her wedding gown in a closet upstairs to avoid me accidentally seeing it, and my sisters are aware of this. Recently, they came into our room, and Molly said the wedding gown was in the pool because, oh my God, I dared Erica to do it, but I didn't think she would. I felt my heart stop. My fiancé took off screaming. I ran after her but couldn't keep up. We saw a white gown in the pool, and she immediately leapt in. I jumped in after her and could hear them laughing their butts off. She grabbed the dress and became confused, saying it wasn't hers. My sisters began to laugh and say it was an old dress that they bought at a consignment store. I've never seen my fiancé so angry. She got out of the pool dripping wet and demanded to know what my mom was going to do. My mom told her she needed to watch her tone when she was living in her house for free, but then she told my sisters that was not okay and to apologize. I think she tried to push one of them into the pool, but I couldn't tell if that was a serious push or not. They did say sorry, but they were laughing. My fiancé said, "No, I asked you what the heck you were going to do." My mom said they apologized, which was harmless, as that wasn't her dress. My fiancé was furious, and I jumped in and said they needed to be in some serious trouble because what they did was cruel, and they couldn't disrespect the woman I love. My mom started getting annoyed and said, "What do you want me to do, beat them?" Then she brought up that I once put a huge darn snake in my sister's bed and that I wasn't punished, then more deflecting about how it's her house. My fiancé was so upset that she left. I confronted my mom later and told her that they weren't punished to a sufficient standard and that she wasn't invited to the wedding. My mom looked shocked and hurt, but told me they weren't my children and I didn't get to punish them and get out of her room. I feel kind of bad because I love my mom, and I get that missing your son's wedding is a huge thing. Not the idiot, but you need to leave the house. She's right. You can't tell her what to do in her house, but I would uninvite the sisters unless they make amends with your fiancé. I would expect the same of your mother for being so meh about the situation. Sisters are old enough to know better and should be the ones with the consequences. And get the dress out of her house ASAP. They may get super salty about being held accountable for their BS and do something to the real dress out of pure spite. Exactly. You don't have to uninvite your mom. You just uninvite your sisters. They're the ones that need to face the consequences for their actions. This will teach them a lesson, and your mom's going to have to decline to attend your wedding because she's going to threaten you with not attending if you uninvite her golden kids. So in the end, there's no need to uninvite her, and they need to apologize profusely. They're old enough. Your mother's a lost cause. I disagree with most of these comments. You are the idiot. I don't think it's a funny prank, but it didn't actually harm anyone. I agree they should be punished, not just an apology. However, this is up to mom. If your fiancé spoke to me that way in my house, she would be out on her butt. Your mom is right. You're both staying for free, and they're her kids to raise. If anything, she owes your mother an apology for screaming and cursing at her. If you both decide to uninvite your sisters, that part is up to you both. People seem to forget that weddings aren't just weddings. They're the permanent mark of how you start your family. Do you really want to look back on that day and remember the wedding dress in a pool prank? Uninviting someone from a wedding is a permanent decision that can't be made up later. For the rest of your lives, your sister or your mother will be aware that a stupid prank was more important than the inception of your own little family, and that's really difficult to recover from. I cannot imagine not having my mom at my wedding over a dumb prank that hurt no one and damaged nothing. Everyone in this story is a giant drama queen. My wife, 36, and I, 46 male, have been married for 15 years. We have 4 kids, 2 teens, a preteen, and a toddler. My wife has been a stay-at-home mom for our entire marriage. At the same time, I, until recently, have worked 3 weeks away and 1 week at home, which means my wife has done 90% of household chores our entire marriage. Work changed recently, and now I'm home almost all the time and traveling much less often. All the kids are on summer break right now, and my wife commented while getting into bed about how much her workload has increased with all the kids being home. I offhandedly said, "The older kids pretty much look after themselves, so how hard can it really be?" In hindsight, that was the wrong thing to say. My wife said that since it's so easy, I could take over. Well, it's been a week, and the ship is sinking. Our older kids do a lot of their own chores, dishes, laundry, bathroom, and the younger kids pick up their toys, etc. But there were just a million other tedious things I didn't realize needed to be done. There are just so many small things that seem to take up so much time, like scrubbing fingerprints off the walls and door frames, dusting the ceiling fans, wiping the windows, sweeping, and vacuuming all the time. The house seems tidy, but it doesn't feel clean like it normally does. I apologized profusely to my wife, and she accepted. But I was talking to my mom about it, and she reprimanded me for being an idiot. She said my wife has done more than she should have to put up with for a decade, and did you just think a magical cleaning fairy came and handled all this at night? My wife agrees with my mother and now wants to switch up the way we do chores, though I said if I'm working and being the only financial provider, then I think the split is fair. She said she would get a job and then we could split chores evenly, and I told her she was just being petty. My mom is fully on my wife's side, but she was also a stay-at-home mom, so I feel like she's biased. So, am I the idiot? You already know you're the idiot for your LOL, your job is easy, herder comment, but you're also the idiot for calling your wife petty for wanting to get a job. We all know you wouldn't do any of the chores even if she made exactly as much as you, or even more. So yes, you're even more the idiot than you anticipated. Yeah, bro, you're a grade A idiot. There were so many things you left out. Who does the finances, doctor's appointments, grocery shopping? You were gone 3 weeks at a time, getting 4 kids up for school every morning, clothed, fed, and homework done. She's been working 10 times as hard as you for years. You couldn't make that money if she wasn't supporting you on the home front. This was one of those stories where basically, 2 sentences in, you already know that OP is a colossal idiot. Agree, and he's only helping during the summer, so he has no idea what the school routines are like, as you mentioned. Dude, let me get this straight. You got a 20-year-old girl pregnant when you were 30, married her, and knocked her up so she couldn't finish her education. She's been taking care of your children and your home for 15 years. And now that she's finally stood up to you, it's a problem? Got it. That's why I have serious issues with age gap relationships. I'm nearly adult male, the second youngest in my family. I have 2 sisters and a brother, Jesse, 23 female, Caden, 21 male, and Luna, teen female. This post is about Luna. We're the only 2 siblings still living at home, and our parents do provide us with food and stuff. But my parents aren't big on chocolate or candies, so they never buy them. We can buy our own with our own money once we're old enough to earn some, which is what I do. My parents also have a very bland palate. They don't like curries or stir fries with sauce. They don't do anything spicy at all, not even a touch of spice. But I love those things. So sometimes I buy stuff to make those things and make curry for myself, or I'll make spicy chicken. So on to Luna. She's the baby of the family, and our parents have spoiled her way more than the rest of us. They let her get away with being a brat to people, and she's not someone I like being around, and neither do our older siblings. She always wants to tell us what to do, and she demands things. One time my parents were away at a wedding, and Jesse and Caden came home to babysit, which was just my parents saying that they could stay at the house and eat for free because they paid for it and make sure Luna and I were okay. This was last year, and Luna screamed so loud, the neighbor came out to see if we were okay. And it was all because she wanted pizza while we wanted ramen. Luna said we couldn't have ramen, and we all needed to get pizza. She tried taking the money out of Jesse's hand. She tried to break Jesse and Caden's phones. She even screamed at the neighbor that we wouldn't let her get pizza. Caden found a frozen pizza, and Luna screamed more, saying it wasn't what she wanted. Another time, Caden was home from college, and she demanded he take her to her friend's house because Mom and Dad weren't home. She pulled him out of bed. She threatened to break his laptop, everything. She's always telling me to do stuff for her and screaming when I say no. So I never buy her anything from what I earn because I honestly don't feel like she deserves it. Lately, she's been getting so jealous of the food I buy myself, and she told me to save some for her. I told her no. She told me I couldn't tell her no, and I said I could, and I did, and I'll do it again. She screamed into my face and demanded I give her some of my food. I said no, she has food in the fridge. She ran and told our parents, and like they always do, they backed her and told me I should be willing to share. I told them I would share when she treats me better and gets a way better attitude. My parents and Luna are angry. Luna called me a jerk, and my parents said I wasn't being generous like they taught me to be. Am I the idiot? A teenager throwing tantrums over food and threatening to destroy people's property sounds like a recipe for a complete disaster of an adult. Not the idiot, but your parents really are, because life will show Luna flames. Hopefully your parents are saving for her education and lawyers. Tell your parents you hope that they're ready to handle the monster they've created when you leave for college, because they can't call on their 3 older siblings to babysit. Your sister's an entitled brat, and good on you for standing your ground and not giving in to her crap behavior. Tell your parents instead of trying to force you to share. Maybe they should teach their youngest some manners on how to talk to people and not be so entitled. I'm surprised she hasn't gotten into any trouble in school. Well, high school is around the corner. Good luck to them. I disagree. This girl has some diagnosable hormonal and/or neurological issues going on that are being ignored. You don't fly off the handle to that degree just because you're spoiled. You don't have to like the kid, but bear this all in mind, because your parents are obviously not seeking outside help for their supernova-level rage child, which is a serious form of neglect. A few months ago, my family, including my sister and my nephew, went out to watch a movie and then have dinner together. 2 of my nephew's friends tagged along. They were friendly and nothing out of the ordinary. 2 weeks later, one of my nephew's friends, John, showed up at my doorstep and asked if he could come in. I was weirded out and got a bad vibe, so I politely asked him to leave. For context, I live alone with my daughter, who's a tween, and a virtual stranger dropped by our home unannounced. I looked at the camera, and he was holding flowers and some other stuff. So I figured this was just a dumb kid with a crush who thought he could woo an adult, but I asked him twice to please just leave, and he wouldn't, saying he just had to see me and that he needed to tell me how much he loved me. This included a gross comment about me being a single mom. I told him I was calling the cops, and that's when he bolted. Cops later came, took my statement, and just circled around to make sure he wasn't still nearby. I specified that yes, he was just a kid, but I barely knew him. He had tracked down my house and wouldn't leave until threatened. He didn't commit a crime, but the cops still dropped by his parents' house to warn him about not leaving private property when told to do so. I didn't ask the cops to do that. They just took the info I gave. I called my sister to find out his last name and who his parents were and related that to the cops since they were asking. I just wanted to make sure he was gone. That visit they did was on them. His mom called me and she first apologized on behalf of her son if he made me feel unsafe, but then told me I went way over the line by involving the cops and how teenage boys having crushes is nothing out of the ordinary and how this could ruin his life. I should have remembered that he was just a kid. To top it off, my sister also told me I went over the top and how he's one of her son's good friends and that I should have just called her when he wouldn't leave and that I should have just called her when he wouldn't leave and she would have sorted it out. I went with my gut feeling and I don't regret it. A random person dropped by your house and wouldn't leave, so you called the cops. That's pretty basic due procedure. Yeah, it's a kid, but that makes it even more prudent to call law enforcement and not deal with him yourself. Agreed. What if OP didn't call the cops and the teenage boy came back when the tween girl was home alone? Someone had to tell this kid that his behavior is unacceptable because clearly his mom wasn't. Her dismissing his crush is one thing, but her completely overlooking the part where her son tracked down where OP lives is alarming. Mommy probably believes her son could only ever have the best of intentions. Stalking? No. He's just trying to get to know you. Harassment? You should just give him a chance. Humor him. Possible eventual assault? Never. She must be lying. Oh, sure. Until he's in orange with belly chains. I get the feeling Mommy's covering for her son. I'm betting they know he has an obsessive personality and maybe mother issues. You followed your gut. The police were following through and being alert. They do see things go terribly bad. You have a minor daughter. You're doing your job. Agreed. No regrets. I, 36 female, am married to 37 male. For the past week, after the kids have gone to sleep and we're tucking in, he's left our room and gone to the basement or garage where he tinkers and plays with his collections of Hot Wheels, remote-controlled cars, etc., or just does stuff to his car. For the first couple of days, I didn't mind because maybe it's a one-off. But after that, it was kind of getting ridiculous in my opinion. This is because, for me, I like to actually spend time with my husband before we go to bed, like watch a movie or watch TV or something. But we can't since he'll go down and come back by 11 o'clock to midnight. I know he's not leaving the house because, well, rain. I brought it up to him, asking what he did during that time and why he did it then. And he said it allowed him to indulge in his hobbies without any effect on his actual day. I've been considering asking him not to do it anymore and to find some time during the day, but I'm asking here since I don't know if that would be idiot-like. Am I the idiot? Let's rephrase this. Am I the idiot if I gave my husband a bedtime? Yeah, you are. Just because that's when you want to spend time together or watch something together doesn't mean he does or has to. You don't get to put your husband under house arrest because you've decided that's when you get to spend time with him. That's not up to you. You don't get to do that. Calling it ridiculous because it's not what you want to do with him really does rub me the wrong way. I'm not getting my way. This is absurd, is entitled AF. The whole post is written like you should get your way, but you shouldn't. And unless I miss my guess, there's a life lesson in here that you should learn. It'll make you a better wife and person. This part gets me. I like to actually spend time watching movies. Have you considered other ways to spend time together? I'm not much into movies and TV, so movie night isn't always time well spent. Perhaps he feels the same. Do you ever try to engage with what he's doing or combine the two somehow? You don't mention a compromise at all. You just want him in bed because you're in bed and want him there. That's ridiculous and unfair. Let the man be. Darn.